This is my one-owner Atari 410 cassette player. Now, some of you probably have no idea that you used to be able to store computer code on cassette and play it back into the computer. Honestly, it was about the speed that I could type stuff in, maybe a little bit faster, but not uncommon to play basically a whole cassette at normal cassette speed to load a program. And back then, like I said, you're talking 16 to 48K long program on a whole cassette. So very slow, not real efficient, but nonetheless very similar to if you heard an old modem or old fax machine. It was sort of that type of technology, kind of a screeching sound. However, in this case, instead of a continuous screech, it would just be intermittent screeching sounds, and somehow the computer knew what those were. Big frustration with this, you might be, 80 or 90% of the way through loading a program off of the cassette, and some sort of glitch happens. The computer didn't understand the noise, maybe the tape had a fade in it or something weird, whatever, and guess what? Everything loaded to that point, gone. You have to totally start over. So there would be times where you'd be playing the cassette, have to start over sometimes multiple times, hoping to get it to work. As you can see, I actually still have, this is Thorn Emi Compute 4 and Reversi on the back side of the tape. And those of you familiar with cassettes, you can tell this is not like a full 60-minute cassette tape. It's a shortened version of one, but nonetheless, like I said, it does have to play through the whole tape in order to load. If my memory is correct, this is kind of like a Connect 4, only on the computer. I don't remember what that one was. But you could also, of course, put a regular cassette tape in here and listen to music or whatever if you felt so inclined. I mean, it's basically just a cassette recorder, not unlike the technology of the time, the late 70s, early 80s. You would see cassette recorders like this frequently. Pause was not something you could always do on cassettes. That was a fairly new feature for the time. Obviously, your stop and eject, fast forward, rewind, play, and record. And if you remember, this means you can't record because there's no tab there. The cassettes that you would buy that were recordable would have a tab there, and if you basically wanted to make it not recordable, you'd break the tab off, or if you wanted to record over this, you'd put tape over it. That was kind of the trick. But obviously, this thing is classic. I think it says 1982 on there, so quite a bit old. This has a date of 6/82, June 1982. That's probably about the time this was purchased. I started with an Atari 400 computer and 410 cassette, and this was back when you could buy a computer and return it. So I had the 400 for a short time, and then I don't remember if the prices dropped on the 800s or they all started coming with the 48K. I don't remember what exactly triggered, but returned the 400 and got the 800, or I should say my parents did, because I was just a kid. But I kept the 410 because still had some stuff on cassette at that point, including this wonderful game here, and so without this you couldn't load it into the computer. So the big problem with the 410 is this is the end of the line here. Most of their devices came with both a female and a male of this. So basically what you would do is you would plug, the device into the computer with this, and then the next device in the daisy chain would plug into the female on the device. This is the only device that does not have a female connector anywhere on it. So this is the end of the line. If you plug this into the computer, this is your one and only device. And so you had to basically keep this at the end, or I think in most cases I didn't even have it connected until I really needed it, which was rare. Well, once you get a floppy disk drive, this technology is so outdated that there's no reason to use it. I don't think I ever figured out a way to take the program off of here and save it to a floppy disk. It probably had some sort of copy guard technology on it, and so it probably was not something that you could do, or at least a normal user, I'm sure somebody out there has the way to do it. One of the original ways that you could save your programs that you were writing, as well as one of the original ways that you could load software into the computer without typing it line by line.